Welcome everybody to our Town Council meeting. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Town Council and where possible live streamed on YouTube. Please note that the recording device is sensitive and the live stream may be recorded by third parties, so do not say anything you do not want recorded. If necessary, I will direct all recording in the room and the live stream to be stopped. But generally I want to avoid doing that, so we'll normally record everything except any item taken in closed session. Members of the public may also make their own recordings, but must follow our rules for doing so, including stopping recording when required. Whilst we do not accept anonymous speaking at the public forum, members of the public who wish to speak but do not want their name published must please indicate this before saying your piece. Thank you. Okay. First, we have apologies for absence. We have apologies from Councillors Crooks, Cox, Davidson and Lucarini. Okay. Item 2, requests, declarations for interest and requests for dispensation. Does anybody have anything to declare? No? Okay, nothing. So we move on to item 3, the minutes of the meetings of the Town Council, the meeting of the Town Council held on Monday the 29th of June. Do we have a proposer that these minutes are true records? Councillor Page, seconded by Councillor Hanlon. And then we move on. All those in favour? Thank you, carried. So we move on to item 4, to note the progress of any actions arising. Oh yeah, okay, it says on the agenda we have no actions arising, so we can move on. That was just to note anyway. To item 5, reports. I don't believe we have a police report or an ambulance report. Did anybody want to report anything from the previous ambulance meeting? Councillor Brown?
Oh right, yeah, we did have a meeting.
We did.
So the take on it is they're still trying hard to resolve issues. The main issue still seems to be ambulances getting hung up at hospitals. They did say, we've stationed another ambulance in Haverhill, so that's 3, but we said, well, is it tethered? No. So does it disappear first thing in the morning, not come back till late? Yes. So they are trying hard. I mean, they did say that last year their call-outs have gone up by 7%, and this year so far another 9%. The funding has only gone up by 2%, so you can see the gap there. I thought it was a positive meeting. They know that we're on their case, which is a good thing, you know, and Alan with his grasp of statistics is a fantastic help. So yeah, so I think they're actually, you know, trying hard. So they're between a rock and a hard place until they resolve the issues around ambulances, you know, not getting stuck at hospitals. We're in a bit of a sticky wicket on that balance of the other points.
Yeah, I'll just add, they did say that they are beginning to gather data, didn't they, on where ambulances are getting before they turn around to sort of return back to Cambridge, and they're sort of trying to gather that data to analyse, but they said that it's going to be a good few months. I think they said it will take a couple of months and then analysing the data. So I think hopefully by the next time we meet, or maybe the time after that, they should have some sort of proper data on that, which will then help them to take action to sort of improve that situation. Did you have anything, Councillor Stinchcombe, to add to that? No? Anyone else? No? Okay, fine, we will move on then. County Councillors, I believe we have Councillor Luke O'Brien had a report to make, is that correct?
Yep. Well, I've got multiple reports to make. We had Joe Mason reported or forwarded an email from a resident on Rafton Road about a water leak. So that water leak has gone into the road. So I've emailed Angel Water, that's it, Angel Water, and also highways, because it goes into the road, it's a potential hazard. That was reported to me late on Friday evening, so I've only sent the email yesterday. So I got a confirmation of receipt, nothing else. So that's ongoing. I expect a reply towards the end of the week. And I do think it's an emergency as it's going into the road. Also, I've had a request, locality budget request for Haverhill Rovers firework display. I think that a couple of councillors are also supporting the event, but at first I was a bit hesitant because locality budget is supposed to be for charitable causes for the local community. And in his initial email, this school gardener said they just wanted a great big fireworks display. So I didn't think it met the criteria. But now I understand they do more to support charities. So I'm going to make that request, Mark. There's also been some emails about the state of repair. I believe it was First Port, the housing association or the management company. There was a bit of confusion about who owns the area and who's responsible for the maintenance. So there's been a bit of to and fro, but I'll find out who's responsible for that. And I'm also considering, I had an idea of organising a People's Assembly. So a People's Assembly would be an exercise in direct democracy. It would be like a people's forum. People would sit around on tables and chairs, have discussions about local issues. Those local issues would be minuted and then we would act upon them. But this is still early discussion. I have a contact in London who is the one who offered, and then I became a councillor, so I thought, why not do one in Haverhill? So I've been talking to a number of people. Max Waters kindly offered the church as a venue. So if we do go that, it might be next year now. We were initially thinking September, but I've been busy. So that's an ongoing thing. I'll talk to Colin about it as well, but he's not here today.
Thank you very much. Councillor Mason, did you have a report?
Yeah, I won't go through it all. At county, there are 3 motions. I was disappointed. When was it? Back in 2021, Town Council, District Council, County Council declared a climate emergency. I was never really comfortable with the term climate emergency, but I think it was a phrase that was used to initiate action and to find measures. And I was very pleased as an administration that we managed to take a number of measures and find cost savings as well. So, for example, there was improvement to a heating system in the house, and that generated over £40,000 a year savings, which for the taxpayer, so and that's year on year. So there are benefits to be had for doing environmental projects, not just looking for increased biodiversity. I was disappointed that there was a motion to rescind the climate emergency. I didn't necessarily feel that was necessary. We ended up having an amendment. My group forwarded an amendment because we wanted to make sure that existing projects that offered that saving kept going. So, I mean, we have to be careful with taxpayers' money, but also I think where we can do stuff, we should. And I think the amendment achieved that. So rather ironically, in order to get that bit over the line, because otherwise the climate emergency would have just been rescinded, we think we bolstered it. But it's a shame now that the County Council and districts and town councils are no longer aligned with that. I think we can see in the news that there is a climate emergency. I don't like the term. I would rather climate, what was the phrase that I used? Climate action. What are we going to do? I would prefer climate action. What are the measurable things that we can do to help make a difference? If we did everything, it still wouldn't necessarily solve the climate emergency, but where we can, we should. So, to be honest, that was quite a difficult one to get through, but I think we amended the motion and improved it, and that got over the line. But as I say, it's a shame they're not aligned, and I know the town council, ourselves, we supported the idea of the climate emergency. Okay, moving on. Forest City, it was interesting that West Suffolk Council has aligned with, I would say, a significant part of the population in wanting to reject the Forest City programme. I don't think it's necessarily gone away. I think there are other routes via a mayoral system where the newly elected mayor, when that happens, will be looking at housing strategically beyond the local plans. But certainly I welcome West Suffolk's rejection of that. It needs to be locally led, the local plans. I wish the local plans spoke with each other so that our local plan was better integrated with the East Cambs and Mid Suffolk local plans. I often think it's focused on housing, not infrastructure. But the free parking for the first hour has returned some interesting statistics. Year for year data shows that over the last month, an additional 2,200 visits to the car parks took place. Now, obviously, in really early days, I'm not going to be crowing about it because it's when people might be modifying their behaviours, it can be quite tentative. But certainly, having an additional 2,200 visits to our car parks, I would say, has to be a good thing. I think anecdotally, whenever I've been in the car parks, particularly on a Friday and a Saturday, although today on a Monday, I noticed quite a few cars. Certainly on a Friday and Saturday, the car parks have been jammed, certainly Low-Lyme Slade has. Which is encouraging. Long may that continue, so that the high street can benefit. The A1307 got resurfaced on the wrong day. That caused absolute mayhem. I tried to explain, because I wasn't aware that it was going to be done on the wrong day, the signage was wrong. Thankfully, I managed to get the notice out late, about 11 o'clock in the morning, and thankfully, that managed to calm most people down, but it inconvenienced a huge amount of people, and highways really must make sure, it's not just highways, it's the end group, making sure they're getting the accurate signage out, because it caused absolute chaos. We've got more roadworks coming up on Ratting Road. I've put down Toucan Crossing, it isn't. It's meant to be a Toucan Crossing, it's going to be installed as a puffin crossing, but to Toucan Crossing specifications, if that makes sense. There isn't a cycleway that leads to it. And the S106 for the Persimmon development shows a cycleway along Ansuckling Road. I'm still trying to secure funding. It's nearly £1 million worth of funding to do Ansuckling Road. If that ever happens, and there is money from government for active travel, improvements around the town, if that ever happens, then that puffin crossing will instantly then turn into a Toucan crossing, which is meant for bicycles as well. So, as I say, it is a puffin, but to Toucan width and specifications. For Ratting Road water leak, thank you, Councillor O'Brien, for leading that. I know Councillor Hannon will probably want to contribute something there. Anglian Water wanted to wash their hands of it and putting it on to the residents, some of which I believe are Haverhill residents. I think I CC'd you in, Pat, but I know you've been in conversation anyway. I'm hoping that West Suffolk kind of sits outside a wall as I think as a councillor, because Anglian Water, I think, will probably respond better to the environmental issues from West Suffolk Council. and I think my purse house is now dealing with it. But thank you, Pat, for intervening as well. And I think I emailed you, Councillor Bryan, because of course it's your within your district. But just be aware that the district council might end up solving it, and Councillor Hanlon might be somebody that you want to liaise with as well.
Well, I know the border between our divisions goes along Racking Road, so we both work together for the residents. Right.
And the other thing is, I know the council have been hearing reports about Burton Centre Court, but I can now draw a line under it. It's not going to go ahead, unfortunately. The community group have now pulled back. Positives: the wall was reinforced and strengthened. There have been some, the surface of the court was ripped up and taken away. It can't be turned into a football park without resurfacing, and it needs to be taken over a community organisation, such as the district council or a community group. Sub-county council won't just leave it open for people to use willy-nilly necessarily. If there is any project, and it's kind of a legacy thing. When I was a county councillor for Haverhill South, Councillor Littman, and it's been something I've been seeing through, but now I'm kind of walking away. Okay. So the court next to the library, as I say, is kind of now just vacant, ready for the next idea of community group. But it was a little bit sad that the community group felt that they could no longer take on those some restructuring, and they didn't feel confident, which was a shame. A lot of money has been spent getting it to the stage that it was. But I just want everyone to know that now is available. Should you know of any community groups who have got any ideas for how it could be used? That's me done.
Thank you, Councillor Mason. And Councillor Dave Smith, you had a question?
Yes, thank you, Joe, for your report. The statistics you gave on the car parks, I mean, they're always very interesting statistics, aren't they? You read various ways. I'm just wondering how many people are actually now driving to town rather than walking previously? I mean, that's going to be something you can't really measure, isn't it? Because the only measure really is going to be how the business are doing, whether they people walking to town or driving to town. Would you agree?
Well, it's not that I would agree or disagree. I mean, yes, it's possible that some people may be choosing to walk in as opposed to driving. My gut feeling is I don't imagine that's many. I would imagine that some of the villages around the town would have seen that, and if they only wanted to pop into the bank or to the post office, it's now frictionless. Economists call it friction, where there are these little measures. It's only 50p, but sometimes it does deter people. And unless there's any other data to the contrary, and there's hordes of people that are now using their car instead of walking, I'm more inclined to think that we've got the increase because people are now choosing to use a car park instead of maybe Tesco's, or that we've got people from around the town and beyond the town now popping into Haverhill. As I say, I'm not going to get overexcited. It's just it's a good first month's figures and a long way to continue. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Burns.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Car parks, I suppose, school holidays now, so they are more busier during the day. Of course, we've got no baseline data because there's nothing been done since 2019 when I got ANPR data done through car parks for 2 weeks. If we'd have done that, if West Suffolk had done that first, we would have known exactly how many vehicles came in and out, how long they stayed for, what tickets they bought. So I'm just going to mention that. The Burton Centre is very disappointing. Councillor Brown, myself and predecessors in 2014-15, we had an agreement that was going to be made back into a five-a-side football pitch because there was a massive demand from kids at Samuel Ward particularly, and the council kept moaning about that brick wall. They should have done it then. We've had a facility there now. Instead of the threat from the Burton Centre itself, they want to knock it down and make it into a car park, which luckily we got refused. So it's sort of scandalous. It's taken 12 years to still do nothing, which is a shame. I know you tried your best, but you go. Thank you.
Do you mind if I just come back on the car parking, please?
Yes, that's fine.
Just really quickly, I was told by Councillor Dave Taylor, and I'm more than happy to interrogate him further, that the data based on time between June and July of this year, they did have data for last year, and there's an additional 2,200 based on last year's figures.
If I can just say, it's cycling. I did a lot, I was on the car parking working with you for 10 years, and I've got all the data, and it was very much cycling. It's never recovered since COVID. And to be honest with you, as my personal view, I don't believe that what West Suffolk say is accurate anyway. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Councillor Berman.
Sorry, free parking, I've been noticing the last couple of weeks. The car parks behind Lydown Slade and the main car park behind Barclays, they've been full on a Friday, and quite busy on the Saturday because this week the obviously people on holiday, etc. But they were very, very busy. And our trade on a Friday was better for this time of year than was this last year, much better. So I think people are using it, and you know about bikes, if people come down to the shop, they can walk down to the drive there and take the shopping home. Also, there's one more thing, I don't know if you noticed, down Bradley Road opposite Millfield Road, there's I just came down the bush by, I just noticed it. There's an open, opposite Millfield Road and Retton Road, there's an open drain here on the football. It's actually open, it's on the down a bit. Yeah, I think it just happened, but it's absolutely full.
Do you mind if I just interject?
Yeah.
Councillor O'Brien, as it's on your patch, there's an emergency number, emergency highways number. When there's an open drain, that should be reported immediately because it's a risk to health.
Okay.
So, as it's on your patch, and did you say it's on the junction to Ratting Road?
Yeah, to Ratting Road opposite Millfields Way. It's that footpath area there, to Haverhill or something. It's open, it's exposed and it's dangerous.
So open drains need to be reported straight away.
Well, if you've got a photo, would you mind sending that to me? And
I will, yeah. I will.
I'll chase that up with Highway.
Thank you. Councillor Hammond.
Yeah, just going back to Joe's, Councillor Mason's report on Ratting Road and Councillor O'Brien. Yeah, I read your emails if you sent, and I was included. I was shocked actually, I didn't really know this, that it affected all the people in them houses all the way along, which is just unbelievable. I didn't know that. I thought it just affected that particular house. And also I was sent photos by a board member, and even just looking at the photos, I'll send that on to, what's his first name? Peter, what's his first name? I can't think of it. Mike, who's obviously the head of environmental as well. So, as I say, I think because of them photos and obviously your emails with the affecting everyone else, he's really going to push that, and hopefully we get something resolved there. Because it's got to be talk really Anglian Water and obviously West Suffolk Council because of the environment as well. And hopefully highways will be involved.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions? Oh, yeah, we do, Councillor Brown.
I was going to say, this is my bit, but I might as well, because that's been brought up about the water leaks. I did look at the Ofwat page around this, because we did have Anglian Water into a planning meeting, to raise the issue of around the amount of leaks in Haverhill. And I think they reported that there was 14 in the last year or so, or 18 months. It was not good at all. And obviously there's been several since. There was a major one again last week. The road was closed. It causes huge inconvenience to the road residents. We've got the one in Ratting Road. There's others around as well. But when I was reading it, because I thought, should I report to Ofwat because they're the oversight to Anglian Water, because Anglian Water are basically marking their own homework with this stuff. But it said, really, you need to, the next step, if you're not getting anywhere with Anglian Water, is actually to get your MP to... he has to be, yeah. So, I don't know if as a town council we would like to, raise this if we send a letter from us, because it isn't good enough. And to be fair, if you've got leaks in water mains, it also potentially can affect the quality of the water, because stuff can get into the water, etc. It's not good. And it's, where you've got leaks that have been going for a long time, it needs sorting out. The other thing is that what Joe brought up about the court. Now, we had a big thing around the mug that we built, and basketball fraternity being really upset about lots of stuff. Could that not be turned into a basketball court?
It's going to look like I'm going to shift responsibility, but it's very much Councillor Paul Whitman's area.
Yeah.
It was kind of a legacy project from when I was responsible for that area. I was just trying to see it over the line.
Yeah.
So really, that would be something for Councillor Whitman to explore.
But I would suggest between us all, if we can, there's obviously a great demand for basketball in the town, and that's just sitting there empty, for a bit of servicing. I'm sure the councils work together, that something can be done. So I just thought I'd bring that up.
So, do you mind if I just come back?
Can I just, first of all, Councillor Brown, just going back to the water, was that a proposal to ask the clerk to write a letter to Anglian Water?
Yes,
Do we have a second of that? Councillor Stinchcombe. All those in favour? That's to ask Colin to write to Anglian Water? Okay, that's carried.
That's the MP.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, yes, right, that's what I meant, to write to Lincoln.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you. And now please do that.
So, I'm totally support about the sticking point is who's going to then take responsibility for it. And obviously finding funding for a resurface, because there's chipping hazards there. The use that was going to be used for it didn't really matter, but for a sports court that would have to be relayed. I would imagine, because it's land owned by Suffolk County Council, which is why I suggested Paul Littman, Councillor Paul Littman get involved, is I don't imagine there's a spare £30,000 for resurfacing the court, whether it's something as a district council, and of course with LGR, we don't necessarily have to wait an awful lot longer before those sorts of discussions become a lot easier.
If I quick come back, so the town council did do the pump track, so there's potential that it can be done. So
Councillor Fair.
No, we did.
Sorry, you mentioned safeguard, Joe, and I've got a few friends do that sort of resurfacing. I had my friend Steve Earth coming down to give a quote, resurfacing there, the non-stick play area, and the quote was £47,000 plus a day. Because I was interested in getting involved myself with it, it was £47,000 plus the guarantee to do that. It's a lot of money. And that's without the other bits, the boundaries got to be done as well, etc. Structures right, you've got CTV down, etc., etc. It's talking about a lot of money to get that going. But I think I spent many a day down to Yankee. That would be fantastic to get that back on the going.
Councillor Smith.
I just want to go on record, clarify the point, the town council didn't pay for the pump.
No, they didn't pay for it. We administer it, we insure it, don't we, I think? And we look after it.
Yeah,
that's what
cut
I'm
price
saying.
basically,
Yeah,
Well,
and pick up rubbish and all that.
Yeah, sorry,
Make sure it's safe.
So I didn't come across that you were saying that they paid for the...
No, I knew that, but I was there when it happened, because it was, I knew that, but we did manage the health facility, that's what I'm saying.
Councillor Burns.
Two things very quickly. I've just reminded people about the basketball court behind Strasbourg Square, which was promised by West Suffolk over 10 years ago to be redeveloped, hasn't been done. And secondly, the pump track, actually, we do all cut the grass, we actually maintain, we put fences up, we fix fences, we do all kinds of stuff like that now.
I actually have a question about the pump track. Somebody asked me about lighting at night there, and I asked Councillor Smith about it, and he said that we purposefully don't light it because people don't want people making noise there. What time are there just no lights there at all? So it's just when it gets dark. So what about when it's winter and it's not late at night but it's dark? Would it not be reasonable to light it until 8 PM or something?
It's not used.
No, I don't think it's used. It's not used.
Okay. I just thought I'd ask the question. Okay, does anyone have any other questions for county councillors on their reports? Lovely. Then we will move on to district councillor reports. I know we've had a few kind of squeeze those in. Has anybody else got anything to report? Councillor Brown.
Yeah, well, it's town council, district council, and it was about the Royal Mail post boxes. I did raise it the other day and finally got to that again. Yeah, so one is that basically Royal Mail seems to be going around taking these doors off the post boxes, but no notices on there whatsoever. Local residents don't know what's going on. I just wondered if we could write to Royal Mail to say, look, if you're going to do this, can you at least have the decency to put a sign on to tell the local residents what's going on?
Out of service.
Yeah, exactly, for X amount of time. I just wondered, and that's a proposal again from the county town
Thank you.
council.
Can I just ask if Councillor Smith has any potential contacts that we could contact for this?
Yeah, well, I've actually got union meeting tomorrow with CWU, so I will ask who the right person is to contact.
Okay, so do we have a seconder for contacting somebody? And can I sort of amend your proposal to say when Dave tells us who the best person to speak to is? Is that okay? Do you accept that? Yeah? Okay, all those in favour? That's carried.
Sorry, I've got some water.
Councillor Brown, please.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, I've got a few. Yeah, so it keeps getting sort of reports by different people that they don't feel safe going down the railway track. Put a lot of money, investment and time into improving it. I was speaking to a police officer the other day and he said it's sort of becoming the Haverhill drug superhighway. Women, don't feel so safe walking down there. I just wondered if we could all, via district council, etc., try and get some CCTV down there, because I think it does need it, just to keep an eye on things. So I'll be trying to do that, and hopefully everyone will jump on that. Also, I was over at Cabinet the other day around the High Street improvements, and I congratulate on the process, and it seems like something's going on now. But I did raise the issue around street drinkers. What's the point of us spending a huge amount of money in the high street? A friend of my wife's the other day was only saying that her niece went down, she's only 15, was getting abuse shouted at her from some of these people. And funny enough, because my post box is not working, I had tonight, quickly, I thought I'd drop a letter into the post box and the post office there. And there was a group of guys there who was drunk, and there was some 10-year-old, 10-year-olds, they were shouting and things. So I mean, you just think, all this effort that's going in, we just need something to be done. And I did raise a request up at the Cabinet the other day, but you just sometimes feel, what's the point? Make it all look nice, try and encourage people to go down, work with a car park and all the rest of it, free parking. And it's also no avail if you've got people there and you've got, mums not going to take their kids down there, young people not going to go down because they feel intimidated. So it's a big issue. I don't know what the answer is. I've got sympathy for those people, but we need something to sort it out.
Hopefully we will have the police. Do we know if the police are planning on coming to the next?
Sorry, didn't they speak about the public space?
Yes, they did, but I think it would be great to sort of have them back and sort of have that conversation about what is happening with that. So I don't know if we can maybe contact them and just say, can you please try and come to our next meeting, and then we can have that discussion. I've got Councillor Smith, but Councillor Mason, were you raising your hand to respond to Councillor Brown?
Yes, I am.
Can I just let Joe pop in and respond?
So the point of contact is Owen Smith of Suffolk Police. They've got an operation called Operation Brightway, which is formally launched in response to issues on Haverhill Old Railway Line footpath. So the police are wanting to progress work in the area and consider measures that may include the use of Section 59 powers, where motor vehicles are being used antisocially. Now, in the email that I received, it says that Suffolk Police, Haverhill Town Council, West Suffolk Council, Suffolk County Council and Suffolk Highways are in discussions. They're wanting to do a clean-up event. They've also approached me for possibly some funding, because the railway line is in my division, but it's also in your division, Councillor O'Brien. what I'll do is I'll forward you that email to see what it's about. And if you want to contribute to some measures, don't know what those are, but I think CCTV in some places is being discussed. But whatever we can do to support. But I do believe those discussions are taking place. And Owen Smith, just for the record, I don't know if it's PC or what is. So yeah, Councillor Burns confirms PC Owen Smith. But hopefully Colin knows something about it, because Haverhill Town House has been listed.
Can I just add that I was in a meeting recently with the police, and one of the things that was about was the e-bikes and e-scooters and all the rest of it, and them on Railway Walk and in general in town. But they were saying that a big problem for them is the fact that not all the areas are covered with CCTV, and that area was discussed. So I think it's also something that the police would be very keen on, sort of, supporting to try and get that CCTV. And so just to mention that there was a conversation about that very thing, just I think it was last week or the week before. I've got a few people waiting to speak. John, I know you've got your hand raised, but I also have, I think, Dave, you're doing your report, right? So can are you coming in?
Yeah, just about that, they've also been in contact with me. They've asked for some historical data, particularly for the Railway Walk. The CCTV, I found an old email where I'd actually asked St Edmundsbury it was, back in 2018 for CCTV along there because of the problems we had all those years ago. And we still got those problems. Those days it was mostly Eastern Europeans drinking most of the time then. Nowadays it's much more problematical up there. And I know the police are getting extremely frustrated with the lack of cooperation from agencies. We all know they've got limited officers here, local officers. Came up on Haverhill today. And I think it's something that certainly West Suffolk need to get off their backside and say, they've got portable CCTV out there. They're sitting in a drawer somewhere in West Suffolk. They really ought to get it connected up, because last time they tried to do this with the police, they wanted to charge the police £3,000 for doing so. So, we need to tell them their life story and say, no, you just get on with it, put it up there, it's protecting your land and our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hammond.
Yeah,
Sorry, this was on this, right?
yes, on this, what Councillor Brown mentioned. I unfortunately, in Queen Street, as I was coming to a council meeting, there was someone drinking and shouting and swearing and screaming, and I phoned 3-9, and I advise you to do the same because the police were very, very quick. And I'd sort of go out from a meeting because the police officers wanted to talk to me about it. So yeah, and they're very quick. So anything like that is a 3-9. Please ring that. And funny enough, as I was walking into here, up the steps, there was this thing went right there, and I stepped back, and it was a scooter, a legal scooter, and that was right next to the steps. So it's just getting out of hand. It really is.
Thank you. Councillor Smith.
That's not really worth waiting for.
Yeah, it's been quite busy. Even though we managed to get a week away in holiday within the last 4 weeks, it's been very busy. It's a sitting on that West Suffolk. That's the development control. Substituting on licence and regulation, environment, sustainability. Obviously, we've got the local plans now up and running. As Councillor Mason mentioned in his report, the initial scoping consultation finishes tomorrow, I believe, at 5 p.m. And our next meeting of the working group is this Thursday coming. So we will get a chance to have a look at what sites have come forward and basically an initial meeting as it were. So that once I'm able to report back, I will on that. And also with the Town Council, the other thing I've been is the Police and Crime Scrutiny Panel. Very interesting. I managed to talk to Tim Passmore twice in 2 days. First one was the One Haverhill partnership meeting, which unfortunately turned into more of a campaign opportunity for his mayoral election. But anyway, yeah, very interesting. The one thing that it was the main subject of the conversation of the PCC scrutiny was
his engagement with the public, which is not the best. He has tried to improve that, so we'll be monitoring that. And the other thing is the estates, basically the police stations within the county. And he's going to report back on the next meeting, hopefully, around the proposed blue light hub within Haverhill. We'll see what comes of that. Other than that, obviously we have the ambulance meeting. And I don't know if it was mentioned, but the motion at West Suffolk Council around the reaffirming our commitment to our stewardship of the planet. That was a good motion which was supported by all sides of the chamber as far as I'm concerned. And that was, just so in fact I do think it's an emergency, Joe. You know, whether it happens now or whether it happens in 100 years' time, it's still an emergency. So, there we go. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Do we have any matters to report from any other councillors? Councillor Byrne.
I don't know if you've noticed the Market Square's been excavated down the bottom there. There was, they've got an electrical problem down there, and they've excavated. They was going to do it Friday, but thank God they Saturday morning, so the market go ahead. But they found more damage than what they think. The main core has been damaged by the sides, which that supplies the high street. So this will be open, I think, for quite a few days now. It's going to be a week or so now. So we've actually got to turn the electricity off the town, get down and repair this thing. And it's been down there many, many years, you know. So that could be out of action for I don't know exactly, but for a while.
So did you say they have to turn the electricity off? So is that going to affect the businesses?
This is going to, we don't know, they're going to inform the contractor. It's been, tomorrow morning they're having another survey to see exactly, you can actually see it's been damaged by the fence. They thought it'd be a mild bit of damage. It's covered by corrugated iron, but it's split everywhere there.
So who's responsible for that?
I have not got a clue.
Okay.
No,
I'm just thinking if we end up with if the electricity does have to be turned off and we end up with a lot of business owners tapping up, then we need to figure out who's responsible and, you know, if those sort of...
Sharon Fell was in, well, there's Sam, I think, but not again, but I think Colin runs, I think he's in contact with what's going on, because he has to know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. But I just said to the contractor, said, so you have to run it past me again, you have to turn off the main source to do this. He said yes.
Okay.
I didn't think we would do it because they thought it was a cut junction further down the road. So we just have to wait and see. But I don't think they'll be back this week. Right? They're not there, so they didn't come back today, and they got stuck in the job Saturday morning. They worked really hard, got the whole lot done, dug up and excavated, and buried off, and then they got to the pipe work. It was worse.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Councillor Mason.
Well, two things. Quick question for you, Paul. Do you think the Friday market will go ahead
Oh, yeah.
on the marketplace?
We'll have to move up a little bit. I mean, it can be done, but I did say to Sharon Boyle, I said we could never put in the high street for that day, but that can't be done because you get the restricted traffic for Friday, you're not going to do it, I mean. But on the other side of the corner, I'm sitting there thinking, well, we've got a lot of food people now. I mean, they're working while we're working. You can't do it. You have to close the market for the day. So I'm thinking, I don't know. There's ways around it, but it's not acceptable. But it's a shame because the trade and the Fridays picking up quite nicely. We've got a few new stores around.
All I'm thinking of is if there's any last minute changes, the comms need to be really good because you know people will get frustrated if suddenly it doesn't go ahead. So I just wondered as a town council whether we can approach West Suffolk for some clarity and also some comms regarding exactly what's happening.
But I'm getting information in the morning, something like that. I can get some information in the morning, I can find out who's responsible. There's no signage up, normally there's a signage saying you've got a problem, phone number, there's none of that around in Market Square at all. I went down there and looked before I got there now, but I'll phone Colin in the morning, he's in charge while Sharon Pearl's away, and all the way, John Miles away, Sharon's away, like this place, had Mondays off, Fridays off, can't go on.
So can we allow Paul to update us, or are you proposing that we ask?
I'm not necessarily proposing anything. West Suffolk Council, in terms of comms, sometimes leave things very, very late.
Right.
And it's fortunate that it's Monday. if for any reason that it's not going to take place, ideally we need to let people know.
But there's a big truth, Joe, looking at the job, I mean, there's a lot of work involved. It's backfilled, every load of block pavement. I mean, if the problem's solved tomorrow, they've got 3 days to backfill, blah, 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 test and reload the brickwork, which is still a big job. But there again, there was 7 blokes working down there Saturday. There were subcontractors working for the firm, they were getting stuck in job and not getting it done. But
Did you say they weren't back today?
no. Only a simple day.
And we don't know why that is. Councillor Smith.
We just talked about the one end of the marketplace, aren't we?
It's right down the front. It's a very large area. It's bigger when they send us the map. Originally lined out, and I measured out the map they sent me. I mean, I'm really a map line daft. I looked down, I said, well, that's 10 foot long there, 15 foot there, and there's a big space to go. Obviously, they've got to put barriers around and backfill around, etc. And I can't see possibly, even if they got it done tomorrow, that's going to be done by Friday.
Is it that destruction? I mean, let's say the Mark Square's quite big, and we've got the area, the raised area where we've used it before. I mean, you've had your stall up there. Not that many Mark stalls.
Well, as it goes at the moment, we like, I don't know.
It's approached 10 Friday.
We had about 8 or 9 stalls, 10 stalls down there.
Not at the top end.
Yeah, not at the top end, no one got at the top end. Because at the top end, it's access to the top end. You can't just about get a van through at the top end, you know, obviously the Dragon will swim up. That's the only way onto the top of the market square. It's not massive areas. Like the vans would be, the big vans, like the new potato van, he wouldn't get on there, the fish van wouldn't get on there, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, I mean, the market will go ahead, I reckon, as long as they're not working.
If there's
As long as they're not working that day, you can't work with this muck and banging around, you can't do it.
Councillor Mason, would you be up for emailing West Suffolk and letting us know if you can get any more information?
Well, I mean, Councillor, I mean, happy to write the email and I'll CC you in and inquiries. I think my only concern is if it's last minute changes.
I don't trust them. A long while ago, when we went up the high street 35 years ago, we had that problem for all the while. They give you a day to move and it's all last minute stuff. You know, nothing's. I know it's hard when you're doing a project like that, but you have got a rough idea what you're doing. If they don't come tomorrow, then you've got problems, I think.
Okay, should we move on? Thank you for that. Okay, we move on to item 5F, members of the public. Do we have anyone who would like to speak, please?
Yes, relating to the changes of the parking meters in the car park. Not everyone on social media know how to use those meters like mine. And someone will drive up into the car park hoping that there will be a coin meter to pay, and there isn't any there, and they will drive away and park somewhere else. The council set to lose revenue that they could rather have, really. So it would be in the interest of the council to install a coin meter alongside social meter there, card meter, so that it would be options for drivers and to use both, really. And that would increase the parking revenue for the council. I certainly would like to hear the views of all councillors here who have any views on this matter, really. I think it's quite important.
I think I have something from Councillor Mason.
Okay, thank you, Ian. So the units installed, much to a couple of members of my own chagrin, was that there was no consultation over particular units. As it turns out, I've had very, very, very few reports other than in the first week regarding the concern regarding using the machines. The machines do take coins,
yes.
So you can use coins in the machines, so they do take coins. But, you know, is it perfect? I have asked Dave Taylor, Councillor Dave Taylor, to review the usage of machines and to receive feedback from customers, and, you know, initially I collected a whole load of concerns and passed those on. So there will be a review period, but I just do want to reassure you that as far as I'm aware, the machines are now district-wide, where there's Ringo, and the machines do take coins.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have anything else to add to that? I have been informed that I may have moved on to 5F too quickly, and there may have been somebody still wanting to speak on 5E. I don't know if it was Councillor Mason. And he's not listening right now. Councillor Mason? Huh?
Sorry, Miss, I wasn't paying attention.
I can't know what you're saying.
It was Councillor Berners, wasn't it?
Was it? Okay, apparently Dave told me that somebody still wanted to speak on 5E, Town Council.
Oh, no, because you skipped it.
No.
I didn't skip it, I just didn't know. When I'd asked for town councillors, you'd initially not raised your hand, and I didn't see if you did.
Oh, because I put the report in, I didn't know if anyone wanted to comment.
Okay. Councillor Brown.
Yeah, just going back to the meter.
Oh,
Is that what you're speaking on? Sorry? No, sorry.
I apologise. I'm rushing on too fast from each item, clearly. I rushed off E onto F, then I thought we were done with F, and I rushed back onto E.
Right.
I apologise. Let's finish F, and then we will move back to Councillor Burns' report. I do apologise.
Yeah.
Please carry on.
Yeah, so the meters have worked out a bit better than before, but still going back to that thing around the council's got to learn around consultation, speaking to people, especially people that are, a bit more elderly, not to paint everyone the same. I mean, people have got other skills whatsoever. Some people aren't so able with electronics and technology and one thing or another. So for the council to bring those in without actually speaking to anyone before, I think was a lot of concerns around like EDAL was brought up, etc. Could have just been they could have been told, people could have been informed. So it was a bit of an own goal really, and I know they're working a lot. The machines do seem to be working okay, but if there'd been a little bit of consultation, that'd be good.
Thank you. Do you have any other comments on 5F before I move back to 5E? No, right. Back to 5E. Councillor Burns, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
No, in case anyone else had any comments.
Okay, Councillor Smith.
Just want to say thank you, Councillor Burns, for putting the speed meters up in Eastern Avenue, even just to confirm that there's not really a problem with speeding vehicles on that road. So thank you very much.
You will see the new thing. My mate, Mr. C GPT, as he's called, has written a very nice plugin that produces all the stuff with filters and research. So that will be coming out in the next couple of days, hopefully, on the website.
Do you know how much water ChatGPT uses?
I didn't say ChatGPT, I said Mr. C GPT.
Oh, what's
Different
that?
person.
Are you joking? Yeah, I got
As much as going down my
I just thought that with the climate emergency, we might need to think about our AI use. Right. Okay. Does anyone have anything else on item 5? Then we will move on to item 6, which is my report. I'm going to keep it very brief. I have been to a few lovely events in the last month, including a summer fete at the Meadows Care Home. I'd previously been to their open week, and it was nice to see the same residents there and chat with them, and they're really lovely. Cal came along with me, and they were really nice to him as well. We had a very nice time. I unveiled the action plan of the Caroline Community Association, and they, I had a short meeting with them where they were expressing their interest in working with us however they can. They're very keen to do more sort of work in the community and get more involved in community events and generally sort of be more collaborative. So if anybody kind of would either like to be put in touch with them or has any ideas or is having any events that they'd like to invite them to participate in, please do either let me know or if contact them directly, but they are so very keen to work with us more if they can. I went to the 100 Years of Scouting celebration, which was amazing. I met some lovely scouts and cubs who showed me around, and I had a really great time there. It was really interesting to learn all about the history of scouting in Haverhill and the sort of different sections of the scouting and how it all works. And they seem to do a lot of really great stuff, so that was really nice. I went to the Town Twinning Association summer lunch, which Councillor Smith also had, and that was really nice. Really nice to meet lots of lovely people there. Met one of their new members who hosts lots of sort of young foreign sort of exchange students and visitors, and they were all there sort of to meet everybody all from. So they're all from France, Italy, and Spain, and they were all there, and that's also very nice. And I'm very impressed with what they're all doing. I went to Thetford to the Mayor Vic's civic reception, which was really great and nice again to sort of see him again and share ideas. And then Saturday I had my quiz, which thank you to everybody here who attended. We had a few people from here, several of our councillors were on the almost winning team, on the team who came second, so that was very nice. We took £160 in entry fees for each, and they took another £96 in donations. So that was I was really pleased. They emailed me today saying all the donations they took, and so thank you everybody if you came along and donated. I will be doing another quiz, I think in December, it's a Christmas one. We're also doing the bingo at the New Croft, 25th of September, so please come to that if you can. We are a couple of us, which I don't know, I'm not actually sure if I've invited all councillors to join this. I've definitely invited some of you, but I will send out an email about it. We're doing a jailbreak on the 8th to 9th of August. It's a 24-hour sponsored event where we begin in the centre of town. We dress up as prisoners. We have 24 hours to get as far as we can, and we are sponsored per mile for how far we can get in 24 hours. So sort of convincing public transport to let you on for free, hitchhiking, whatever it might be, to sort of get as far as you can get. And again, all of these events are to raise money for Reach. So if anybody is interested in doing that, it's going to be lots of fun. Please do let me know. And that, I think, is about it from me. Councillor Hamlin.
Could you repeat how much you got in donations, please?
£96.
96.
Yeah, and then it was 160 from entry. So in total, that's whatever that is, 256. Councillor Fenner.
If you do these events, you couldn't give us a bit more notice, because I haven't got one that week before, then you should have...
Yeah, I do apologise. So I did send out in an email, but it was kind of at the bottom of an email, and I think not everybody read it. I did let everyone know a couple of months ago, and
6 months,
I did. Okay, and then I did mention it at the last council meeting, but again, maybe not everyone was listening, maybe not everyone was there, so you're right, I should have sent out the poster earlier. Time suddenly got away from me, and I was going to make the poster sort of a month before, and then it was suddenly 2 weeks before, and I was like, whoops, I need to make the poster, so I do apologise. I will give more notice. I think the December one we're going to do is going to be on a Friday, so if anybody could please pencil in, I think we're going to do it on the 11th, Friday the 11th of December. So please pencil that into your diaries, and I will let you know when that is set in stone. But thank you, that's a good point.
Is that at the same place?
At the Rugby Club again, yeah. He's busy on the Saturdays in December, so he said we'll do a Friday. So yeah, that is the prospective date for that. So yeah, thank you. Anyone else have any other questions? No? Okay, lovely. Then we will move on. Have we got Colin joining?
After these items.
Oh, okay, so we're going to switch. Oh, he's only joining for this?
Yeah.
I apologise. Yes, because, fine, sorry. So, we move on to item 7, the One Haverhill Partnership. You don't have a separate report, do you, Vicky, from the Deputy Clerk?
I do.
So we should move on to the One Haverhill Board, which I'm going to report on. 7A, we don't have a report. 7B, which is the One Haverhill Board. which was already mentioned briefly, but we had a presentation from Tim Passmore, which went over local government reorganisation, policing priorities, the importance of investment in prevention and young people, and we also discussed the e-scooters and e-bikes, the policing resources and town centre and the sort of street drinking, and the proposals for a blue light hub. So yeah, all of that was sort of discussed, and sort of also previously mentioned that we're going to get a future update on that in the not too distant future. Then we had an update from Alex Wilson from West Suffolk on the local government reorganisation, explaining a bit about the timetable, when the new unitary authorities are going to come in, and sort of how that's all going to work and how that crossover is going to go. Then we had an update from Saffron Carter, who I think everybody knows is the new town centre manager, and she described what she's been doing, working with the local businesses, a bit about the Love Haverhill initiative, which is a new thing to sort of improve. It's sort of like a bit of a kind of like PR thing and stuff to sort of improve tourism, and I think there's going to be, she said there's going to be some kind of leaflet produced, a sort of Love Haverhill leaflet, which is going to sort of, encourage that, sort of, encourage people to come to the town. That's in engagement with all the local businesses, and generally just work strengthening that sort of business networking. And then we had updates from the task groups of the board, including community safety, kindness, the ICB, and we had an update on the Science Festival, education, skills and enterprise, a cradle to career. Henry Wilson was re-elected as the chair, and we discussed reviewing representation to try to improve sort of diversity of representation on the board. There was a discussion about how the board itself is not that representative of the wider community, so we had some conversation about thinking about people who we could potentially invite to improve that. There was also a discussion about reinstating an annual public meeting as well, because that's something that hasn't been done for, I understand, quite a long time, so to actually have sort of public meetings. And that is it for that update. I apologise if I rushed through that a little bit. Does anybody have any questions? Councillor Brown?
Yeah, obviously the town centre manager, will we sort of get reports to the town council?
Yeah, I assume so. I mean, could we potentially ask Saffron to come to our next full
That
council?
was discussed, and Helen Collin and I are working on reporting back to the council.
Yeah, sort of on a regular basis, we know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I did sort of bring it up at district the other day, and they said, oh no, it's all down to the town council, even though district contributed some money sort of, they said, no, it's down to the town council. So, yeah, I'd like to, I think we all,
So I think it would be nice to have her come to a full council meeting and talk to us. But this is obviously not the same thing. But if you do want to chat with her, she's based in the Wellbeing Centre, and that is anyone's welcome to pop down there. So do feel free to pop in if you personally want to chat. She's very available. So just also to bear that in mind.
Michael, be excused.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for coming. And yet nobody is obliged to stay except you now. Thank you. Okay, any other questions on any of that? Sorry, Councillor Mason.
Yeah, just on that point, I'm very much aware that Colin line manages Saffron, and I would just hope that there is a line of an avenue that Saffron can receive feedback, but not necessarily maybe quite so in your face at a town council meeting. And I would welcome nothing as formal as an extra committee, but maybe a task and finish group of just some interested councillors who might be interested in seeing how that role develops and contributing. And it may only just be for a little while, because I think probably many of us could already now start giving some feedback and some ideas on things.
Would that not be sort of the purview of the town centre improvement group? I know it's not exactly the same thing, but it does share a lot of the same, I mean, it shares the same ambitions, doesn't it, to sort of improve things in the town centre. So I would wonder whether perhaps that could be looked at by that group. Sorry, I've got Councillor Burns.
Yeah, I was going to just add, because I've been working with Saffron on all kind of things, she's very much in early days of data collection. You know, she's trying to get around businesses, she's trying to find, I mean, I spoke to her the other day when we were trying to design a website, I said, you know, you need to go and talk to Anglia Revenue Partnerships and try and get a list of all the businesses in town. And we're not talking about town centre, we're talking about the whole of Haverhill. So, you know, well, I don't know how many businesses there are, but, you know, little ones down Pickrell Way and things like this. So she's very much, she's also got also remember she's part-time, she's not full-time as well, so be careful about that.
Councillor Smith.
I'm just going to say the town enhancement is more of a task and finish group, so it's not an ongoing thing, so it's part of it.
And the agenda is very much focused on the design phase.
Okay. Councillor Brown.
Yeah, that's what I was just basically going to say the same thing was, and to be fair, the town centre group didn't actually report back to us. We didn't know really what was going on, to be fair. And even members of the group didn't know what was going on apparently. But no, what's saying is, what I was saying was really all just to report something that we can look at every now and again, you know, maybe come in a couple of times.
Yeah, so that would be great. We have just had a message from Colin to let us know that Colin's going to be joining to talk about the item 9. He also said that he can say something about this. So maybe we'll wait and hear because Colin might have something useful to say on how we can arrange that communication. So maybe we will move on from that for now. On to item 8, financial matters. To authorise the payment list that you will see on your papers. Can we have a proposer for that? Councillor Burns, seconded by Councillor Hanlon. All those in favour? That's carried. And then we have the grant applications, item 8B has been deferred, so we're not going to be looking at that this evening, which then moves us straight on to item 9, which hopefully we can call in. Probably in to join us.
So this is where you have to bear with me with the tape.
That's Vicky.
Hi Colin, can you hear us? Yes, can Vicky, can you turn them up a little bit? Jordan's turning you up. Yeah, say something. I think that's better, isn't it? I think you might be on a little delay. Welcome to the meeting, Colin. And
thank you very much.
So I'm coming out here.
oh, so I can hear it because I'm near it, but can not everyone hear him very well? Everyone can hear. Yeah, we're all right.
I'll try and speak up a little bit so that we maximise it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we're all right. Okay, so would you like to, first of all, are you up for just coming in on that discussion about getting sort of reporting and feedback to Saffron?
Yes, I thought that they were all very valid points. In answer to Councillor Brown, I think we're probably going to come through leisure and community. Probably seems to be the best way of doing it, but I agree it's a good idea to invite Saffron to the Town Council. In a response to Councillor Mason, there is, what we're discussing is a kind of town team approach to providing Saffron with a background of support for businesses. and I think there will be space for a council or two on that, but we have to bear in mind that our intention is Saffron is the voice of business to council rather than council to business. So we would want to make sure that councillors are very comfortably outnumbered by businesses, so that businesses have faith in Saffron supporting them. And just to comment, because there's a lot of talk about the town centre, and yes, of course, Saffron's job title is Town Centre Manager, and that reflects probably a major part of her work, but there are the outlying shopping areas and all the businesses out on the industrial estates that we're working with as well, to promote Haverhill as a place to invest and a place to visit and live. So she's got quite a lot on her plate, but the town centre management side of things, it will be mostly trying to get management retail. I think one of the difficulties that perhaps has happened before is that the businesses that were represented were not retail businesses. They tended to be professional businesses, so actual solicitors and accountants, etc., rather than dealers, market holders, market stall holders. And whilst we know we need to revisit what a high street looks like, we know that really people still expect a retail element in there.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for Colin on that? Okay, lovely. Then if we move on to item 9, which is the review of public assets in Haverhill.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully all the councils have had a chance to read the paper, and I'm happy to take any questions on it. I might say that, just to be really clear, it was Simon Edwards' view as to whether or not the local government reorganisation would be a financial success, not mine. I'm merely making the point that perhaps we ought to be, given that you've just visited the Scouts for their 100th anniversary, their motto, be prepared, may well be quite appropriate for us at the moment, and that we ought to be prepared that if we do find that things need to be offloaded, we know that the district and county council are very happy to talk to us already about taking on services. But as I said to Alex Wilson, if you were doing a bad job, if the county council or the district council were doing a bad job, then it would be a no-brainer for the town council. But this may be unpopular, but in all honesty, what bad job are they doing that we think we can do a better job? So it's really only if they find that they can't do it anymore, or perhaps there may be some things that councillors or the public feel very strongly about. But this isn't about a kind of trolley dash around a principal townhouse or supermarket, grabbing everything. This is understanding what's on the shelves, what we can take on, and what kind of trolley we would need to put it in. That helps.
Councillor Brown? Councillor Brown.
Yeah, thanks Colin. That's an excellent paper that let's have a look at. And to be fair, it's good that places like Bridgewater have been through this process already, so there's a lot of lessons hopefully that you've learned or people have learned in this, pitfalls, etc. We see that. The only thing that really concerns me about this process, I mean, like I say, West Suffolk do a lot of stuff. East Town Park, our parks, grass cutting. On the whole, they're generally very good at it, and could we do a better job? I don't know, but it's a cost, and if it gets out there that we're, you know, really ahead of the game and we're preparing to take over all this stuff. We will take over all this stuff because they'll offload it to save themselves money. So, and we're already, you know, the highest precepts in Suffolk for Parish Council, I believe. You know, if we've got to take on dozens more employees, etc., and we've got a huge learning curve to take this stuff on, yeah, I don't think it's, because there's one thing for certain, there will not be a precept cut from the new authority, that's for sure, because you know, they've got huge issues around SEND and adult social care provision. So yeah, we could be deeply unpopular and not do as good a job as what, you know, the district council's doing. So I think that what you've done is really good, and you know, and it's good to plan and good to look at these things, but it does fill me with apprehension, you know, about the town council taking the things on. But obviously, we would take everything on, you know, in its early days. But to look at it and to plan and to see what we could do is really good. So and see what assets there are, you know. So well done on the paper. You know.
Thank you, Councillor Smith.
Yeah, thanks, Colin, for the paper. It's difficult to know what to think if we don't know what's on the table, as you say. You know, we don't know what services they may want to get rid of or whatever. But I think we don't need to look into specifics now. As you say in your recommendations, it's basically about seeing what services there are, who offers them, and what would sort of fit our portfolio, if you like. I mean, if it's something that fits in with something we're already doing, it enhances what we're doing, I think that would be great. But I think we have to be careful when we look at specifics on what we do take on. I think Councillor Chair was saying earlier, experience in another council where they took on parks and basically bankrupted the council. So we have to be very careful what we're looking at. But I think the recommendations as they go are pretty sound. I think I'll be happy with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Shearer.
Yeah, thanks very much for your paper, Colin. I think what's important to consider is there's two sides of this. There's things on the shelf we think we might quite like to do. There's also the risk after reorganisation that we will get the offer of take this on or lose it, which is what's happened in a lot of other local authorities where there have been combinations of local government reorganisation. So things like the classic one is public toilets, which just get handed down to the lowest level council, and it's either you pay for it or they get padlocked. So I think doing particularly the financial threat that you talked about in your document, prudent. I think the scope of that, I guess, is interesting because so much is up at the air at the moment. You know, I saw one of your recommendations was to consider our financial position. Considering our financial position, if we're taking on $500,000 of extra services is one thing. Considering if we're taking on $2.5 million is a very good prospect. So I think until we really have more of a view of what's in scope and what isn't, it's a really difficult task to do any adequate preparation.
Thank you.
Sorry, if I can just come back on that. I don't know whether all councillors are aware that Councillor Teixeira was a councillor down in Cornwall. I think I'm right, Councillor Teixeira. Yeah. So there's some lived experience that is kind of reflected in the my undergraduate dissertation anyway, but Councillor Teixeira's lived that. So that's very useful for us to have that sort of background as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll come to you, Councillor Burns. I just wanted to ask, Colin, are you looking for sort of a proposal on whether we do these sort of ABCD that you've laid out?
I think yes.
Okay.
Sarah's waiting for the instruction, but clearly if you don't want to give that instruction yet, that's fine as well.
I mean, I would be happy to propose that. I'll come to Councillor Burns.
Yeah, Colin, thank you. It's an interesting paper. You mentioned obviously Bridgewater, which is part of a single unitary authority. In Suffolk, they're planning 3. It may or may not be 3. Who knows at the moment? Depends what this government does, and legalities and all that sort of stuff. So we are going to have some sort of West Suffolk thing, which is more local than perhaps the one Suffolk type of concept. I'm a bit worried that we're looking at this a little bit too early because we don't know the data. Then I look at places like Buckinghamshire, which I know quite well because my sister lives there. And for example, a town like Chesham, which I think is about, it's slightly smaller than us, I think about 26,000. But they've been running services such as allotments, cemeteries and everything for well over 100 years, which is what, of course, Haverhill Urban District Council did all those years ago. So it does worry me that effectively we're going to be coming back to an urban district council once more, running a lot of services, costing our residents a hell of a lot of money, because you know full well that whatever unitary authority is out there is not going to give us the amount of money. You know, they've offered us car parks previously, they've offered us markets previously, because they know they're loss leaders. You know, so I'm very worried about that. I also wondered, obviously you mentioned a member of staff running this. It does worry me that a member of staff is not a council, you know, hasn't worked in the town council. She's worked in the town council, but not as a council person. That we really, if we're going to be doing this, we maybe ought to be looking at other people who have more knowledge of how councils work, and equally bringing in, not necessarily paying people, but asking for advice. You know, obviously your contact with Salcombe now, all that sort of stuff. That does worry me, but I do think we're a little bit too early now. So I think if the population, you know, listening to a public meeting like this, heard us say that we want to look at everything, they won't understand that we're only looking at things just to be prepared. All of a sudden you're going to get people on social media saying, oh, they're proposing to do all this, who's going to pay for it? All that sort of stuff. That's what worries me a little bit here. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Smith.
I don't think we need to be too worried. This is just a mapping exercise. It's not making a decision. It's just giving us the information. That's all it is really. And it's going to be reported back to us. So if we're not happy with the data, then we'll ask for a bit more information. Simple as that, really.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with you, Councillor Smith, and I also think that the public are, sensible enough to be able to understand what we're, if they're watching this meeting, then they know we're talking about looking at data and not making any decision right now. So I don't think we need to worry about that, about people misunderstanding. And I am happy to propose that we go ahead and do these steps, and I think I have a second. Are you seconding? Oh, I think I already had a second from Councillor Teixeira, but okay, Councillor Stinchcombe seconds. Colin, did you want to say anything else, or should we just go to the vote?
No, I'm happy for everyone to go to the vote. I think Councillor Burns does make a fair point, and I will make sure that Sarah learns from these things. She's a hugely capable person, so I'm not overly concerned that she won't be able to get it. But I'll make sure that if there's any context that she doesn't understand, that she does take that into account. So I think Councillor Burns' point is fair.
Thank you. Okay, so all those in favour of following these suggested steps? That is carried. Thank you. Is that all we've got you for, Colin? Are you?
That's all you've got me for. I'll go back and watch the rest on YouTube. But thank you all very much.
Thank you for joining us on your holiday, and you really should just relax on your holiday, but thank you very much.
Did you relax on camera just in time?
Good, okay, have a good trip, Colin, see you soon.
Thanks.
Bye. Okay, that's great. So that is that done, which moves us on to item 10, the adoption of committee report. We have a report from the planning committee, the minutes for the meeting held on the 7th of July. Can we have a proposal that those are to record? Councillor Martin, seconded by Councillor Teixeira. Yeah, you've got to second something. All those in favour? Carried. Okay, item 11, we have nothing, no delegated actions, which Brings us on to the final item. Item 12 is the date of the next meeting, which is scheduled for Monday, the 28th of September. So put that in your diaries, please. And then I will close the meeting at 8:25 p.m. Thank you.